right, guys. Thanks for jumping on another episode of Punch Me in the Face, the podcast. I'm really excited. Every time we do an episode, people said to me, what is your motivator? And I'm like, to disrupt what's wrong with any industry I join. Like, that's kind of a big part of my deal. My guest today is somebody I've known for a long time, and somebody that actually was, it's funny because when I got in the life insurance business, there were a few people that I was in business with at the time that were hardcore. Like, I know I'm hardcore about shit, and I don't pretend that I'm not either. I'm like, I know I am. And then I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot of hardcore people out there that want to take care of their families, serve clients, do stuff. So we're going to talk about those times, those days, and that journey. But I got my buddy, Mike Bettencourt. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing awesome, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
And Buzz Lightyear's his nickname. Buzz. We all called him Buzz. He's the man. Mike, I think that you've taken a journey that a lot of people, you get almost everybody in life that I meet is looking to do something else outside the job they have. Right. And being an entrepreneur is hard. It's a grind. It is a grind. It's very rewarding. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting battle, but it's a grind. And if you don't want to be battle tested, it's not going to work for you. Right.
Right.
And Mike, when did we first meet? What year was that?
I was just going through it. I was asking Rachel, my wife, Rachel, was it 2009, 2010?
I got my license in 2008. I think it was 2009.
Okay. Sounds right.
And to give you some background, I got my insurance license. I'd been in real estate and mortgages. I got it part-time. I was also working in the state of Connecticut, Department of Children and Families, working with abused and neglected children, got my license. And I was in a place in my life where I really, I wanted to do right by clients, but I wanted the environment to be a real life boiler room. I wanted to do right by clients. Like, I was not going to screw anybody over to make money. So the boiler room, they were fucked up because they lied, cheated, and stole. The clown that did the movie on, fuck's his name, Jordan Belfort, he stole. He should get his teeth knocked down his fucking throat. Right. I didn't want to hurt clients. Okay. But I want it to be a real life boiler room environment, meaning like, you come here to work, you don't work, fuck off. This is what we do. And I wouldn't have done well. It was all men, because I wouldn't have done well. I'm just telling you, like, we ended up having a big organization, men and women. But early on, I don't think any of us I would never yell if a woman's in the office not hitting numbers. My mom raised me by herself. I would never have screamed and yelled. I've been like, all right, you can do better. But when Bettencourt was doing it, so Bettencourt, if you could describe that time, how would you describe it to somebody? I mean, I kind of jumped and I described what I was looking for. How would you describe finding the life insurance industry? And by the way, we built something massive fast, so you can't argue it worked. How would you describe those times, those years back then, dude?
It was the closest thing I ever had to a team outside of sports. Does that make sense? Like, and the closest thing I ever had to a real coach, a real mentor, a real leader like you, Sean. And we were just all in. There was no excuses. We were going to hit our numbers or die trying, right? If at that time, I was chubbier back then, but at that time, if one of us got on a treadmill, someone was going to die, because there was no quit, right?
Amen.
Right. And that's the culture we were building. It was an incredible culture. And it was life-changing for me, because I'd never been part of a team like that. Even my sports teams, successful sports teams that I've been part of, it wasn't like that, right? It was, we were doing it. We were hitting our goals. The goal was to get the trophy, right? Win that championship at the end of the season, but we weren't actually changing lives. Were we? Like, financially, like we weren't just changing our lives financially, but we were changing future generations with your kids, my kids, right? So it was so, and obviously clients, because we would all get that phone call, 6 months into the business. I remember getting that phone call that, hey, this so-and-so that you met passed away, and the family's looking for money because they don't have any money to bury that person. So it was incredible. And I would definitely describe it a little bit like boiler room at times, but with the ethical part of it, because we cared about people. We wanted to do the right thing.
Amen. Yeah. And I think, for me, Mike, a lot of that we wanted to provide for our families so bad. And then we fed off each other, right? That's how culture is too. Like, for me, I was so excited about what we're doing. I had this like do or die attitude. And then all of a sudden it's like, give me you and Mike and a few other people. And it's like, and Dominique. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's a lot of people out here that, and I can remember like, you're like 10K or die. It was like, dude, I won't go home to my family unless I do 10K. Like that's my job.
And that's a throwback. I forgot
that's a throwback. Remember that? Like I would not
forgot about that. Yep.
I mean,
it was 10K. Yep.
You said that. I won't.
Yep.
Our deal was 10K or die. You're like, I will not go back to my family. I got to do 10K every week. That's my job. Take care of my family. And we had some amazing times. And it was, but I think that we shook the insurance industry there at that company because there was a group about 30 of us doing more than teams that had 4, 5, 6, 800 people. Right. And our concept was, first of all, you're going to get your insurance license, your real estate license. If you're going to get any of those licenses and not use them, don't get it. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. If I was the real estate commissioner and you didn't make any sales, why would I want to monitor you every year? I'd be like, dude, just take your license. You don't need it. If you're an insurance agent, you didn't make any sales or make any overrides. We used to say that, right? Like if it was up to me and I was in charge, I'd be like, dude, why do you get to keep your life? You don't ever use it. Like, why would I want you on the books to monitor if you're not going to provide life insurance for people when there's hundreds of millions of Americans, the vast majority of them say they don't have enough for any life insurance. Why are you not getting life insurance for them? But I can remember, Mike, helping people change their attitude, right? They would come in, they'd never dialed before. You know, we were dialing, running in home appointments. We were not calling like we called whatever leads we had. Didn't matter, dude, whatever it was. Right. What are some sales things that you picked up from what we were doing that have allowed you to continue in your entrepreneurial journey to be successful?
The biggest one is attitude and activity. I still, with my sales teams today, that's the first thing I always train is attitude and activity. Nothing else in the business, in entrepreneurship and self-employment, in sales, nothing else you can control in life, really. The only thing you can control is your attitude and your activity, right? Is how hard you work, and keeping that attitude right, because you know, you can complain all you want, but nobody wants to hear it, right? Nobody
Correct.
really cares. Nobody likes that. So having the right attitude and you just touched on it a little bit with the leads, right? It's like, you know, some I'll see sales reps all the time and they'll fixate on leads. You know, how old is this lead? Oh, like now we're spoiled. Like we get leads literally, they filled it out 5 minutes ago, right? But back then it was like, hey, you filled out this form. I don't know when you filled this out. It was probably a couple of years back. And we were just calling them because they filled it out and they signed it and they asked for help, right? So it was just a mindset that this person asked for help. I'm going to do everything possible to help them.
And let's role play this, Mike. If you would ask me how old this is fucking out. This is how we did it. Ask me how old the lead is, Mike. We're gonna role play back to 2009. Ask me how old the lead is.
Sean, how old is this lead?
Dude, have some fucking respect for yourself. Seriously. Somebody filled something out, asked for your fucking help. Most people have no life insurance or don't have any at all or don't have enough. And you're asking me how old the lead is. Oh my God, poor Michael. Call the fucking lead. Is that about right?
That sounds right. Yeah. And the call took about 32 seconds.
Yes. And I'd expect you to say the same. I'd expect you to say the same thing to me. Like exactly. That's the way that it works, right? Like we had this, you couldn't tell us it couldn't be done. You could not convince that small group of us that it couldn't be done. And then when people in the business tried to figure out why we were doing it, they'd be like, I don't understand. Can I come to your office? Let me observe. Let me see what you're doing. I've been in the business for 5, 10, 15 years. Remember when the dude with the V-neck sweater used to give trainings in the hallway? Remember that guy? Was he before your time or after?
V-neck sweaters.
Yeah, little dude. We called him V-neck. He used to come out.
Was he a lawyer?
Who?
The lawyer?
No. Oh, no. Gordon was great. No, he quit in the middle of the night. Remember him? Snuck out, saw him in the sunset. Gordon's great. No, V-neck. Yeah. His name was Kevin. I'm going to get him where people get nervous. He'd been in business forever. I go to my first meeting. We've been around for like 6 months. He's out in the hall doing trainings. And it's a meeting of like 40 people. So I come out and I'm like, hey, man, y'all got a minute? You got a chance to meet Kevin? They're like, yeah, he's so knowledgeable. I go, hey, guys, Kevin sells fucking zero insurance. He's actually just a professional sweater fucking wearer. He doesn't sound. Do you remember him? Or was that before your time?
I think that was before me. I don't remember.
So like we would like, and I wasn't doing it to be mean. This guy was having conversations with agents about things he knew nothing about, literally nothing.
Absolutely.
And he would throw up on them about how to sell when he sold nothing. So they would leave and they'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you don't have to apologize. Kevin's lying. Kevin doesn't sell anything. He's just Trey gets off on coming to meetings and giving advice before the adults get here. There's a kids table, adult table. Kevin might be 65. He needs to sit with the children. The adults over here selling life insurance. Kevin, leave us alone. Then I pull Kevin aside and go, dude, knock it off. Because those people need to feed their families and they're listening to you like you actually sell something. And you don't sell fucking anything. And that's
that's got to be one of the biggest takeaways is like, don't take advice from the people who are giving the fruit that you're looking for, right? Just look for
people do it all the time, Mike.
Yeah, don't take it. You used to say it all the time. Don't take advice from broke people, and that's exactly. I think that's where that comes from, is because there was people giving advice. They were like, dude, he sold one policy in the entire month. Like the number 10 on the leaderboard sold 5 last week, right?
Right.
So yeah, like why would you be listening to that?
Unless he wants to give advice on what not to do. I'd be like, why don't you in front of everybody, tell them exactly what not to do, and you'll be the guy to train on what not to do. But and as managers and leaders, we fail because we don't address it. You don't let people speak into your kid. You're a soccer guy. Your kid's good soccer players. I don't know. I played 1/2 game of soccer for the Hellions. I'm not kidding you. I was probably 8. I played baseball, basketball. Mom put me in soccer. I showed up, green shirt. We had this kid, Kevin Harewood, on our team, who was the best player in the entire league. And the entire game, I ran up and down the field to watch Kevin score goal after goal after goal. And I'm like, what position do I play? They're like, defense. And I'm like, but Kevin just scores all the time. And I've been running the entire time. And it's a contact sport. So I'm not going to dog soccer. It can be violent, it can be good. I like that. You slide them, tackle them. I played 1/2 game. And I was like, Mom, I want to play football. And also running's not my thing. Like I didn't. But I'll tell you what, if I started giving your kids advice and you and I are friends, you respect me on soccer, you would absolutely go, hey, bro, stay in your lane.
Absolutely. And at my kid's age now, even at 8 years old, Aiden would look at me and be like, Dad, he just told me to do something. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
No, 100%. You'd be like, if he wants to talk to you about mindset, let him, but not about the game of soccer. But I also wouldn't give advice on something I don't know.
Yeah, it's like me with basketball or football for that guy. Yeah. I didn't play football, right? I just played with my cousins and my friends, American football, right? I'm the worst basketball player ever. I don't think you've ever seen somebody with who could possibly throw a ball worse than me when it comes to basketball. I would never give basketball advice ever.
I think you could beat Mike Sizer one-on-one.
I highly doubt that.
Mike, he's very we should put that together for charity. You against Sizer one-on-one to not 11. That might take a while to 5.
That'll be only if Mike Sizer dresses up as the elf from the movie Christmas.
Oh,
the Christmas
Mike will do. Hey, for charity, Mike will do a lot. He had actually Buzz, my man. He's got his brother-in-law. Is David still a cop?
Still a cop. Yep.
He's a big old. How big is David?
He's got to be what, 6'4", 6'5".
Big old dude. He walked in the office one. I don't think you were there. And my son was there, and he's like talking to him, and he's real. I don't know how many years ago it was. I mean, shit, 08. So you're talking about my kid was like, 7.
That must have been like 2010.
5, whatever it was. Kid was 7. Yeah. And he's like, you got a gun? And I remember he just looked over and he goes, what do you got a gun for? He's like, to shoot bad guys, obviously. And I was like, I love this guy. Like, who is he? He's just walking. Then he's joking. He's like, you want to see it? And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. You know, he's nuts.
He's definitely hardcore for sure.
He is hardcore. All right. So give me an idea how crazy it was. Cause and again, I'm not going to share anybody's names because they get all offended, but these are true stories. Do you remember when I can't help it. We were all full service agency. Do you remember when
I know exactly where you're going. I know exactly where this is going.
I can't, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to go, hey, and they're true stories. You have plenty of stories about me, man. Tell the truth. I'm good. But we had, actually, without using this person's name.
Okay.
Explain to me when I called you and told you what I needed you to do when I landed in Providence at the airport.
If I remember, I don't remember the exact details, but
give me
it was
just
like,
this
hey,
overview in your mind.
This person's missing. We don't know. Didn't really have a lot of information at that point. I need you and another guy to come down to North Providence. And
So
I lived in New Hampshire at the time. It was about what, an hour and a half, 2 hour drive,
yeah.
whatever it is. And 5 minutes later, I was out the door. Yeah.
So I'm in a meeting in Maryland. I get done for an hour and a half meeting. I got 100 missed phone calls from statewide, the major crimes in Connecticut, because it actually says on my caller ID. And I'm like, I've been sober for a long time. I don't think I did anything that major crimes would want to talk to me about. So I'm like, I call him back. I'm like, hey, so-and-so dropped you off at the airport's missing. And I'm like, well, I didn't take him. Like, I'm in Baltimore. And then, so we didn't know what happened. Everybody's calling. And you were the first phone call I made. Did you show up with somebody, or was it just you?
It was me and another guy, another big guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it was. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so all we know is where this dude might be, and not a good area.
No.
And we got to get our way in like this place, this little crack spot. We get in. Do you remember the first door we went to?
Was it a lady?
Well, let me tell you all. The first door we go to, and I think I'm crazy. So I'm like, all right, you know what? The guys, and maybe he's partying, maybe he's not. It's not a good area. People are worried about him. We got to go get him, man. Team, we go get this dude. And I knock on the door. I don't even know what we're doing. Like, we got a picture of the dude on our phone. Like, that's our intel. Like, have you seen this person? And
Exactly.
I'll never forget, the door was open. And I'm like, getting right. And Mike walks right in. And he's like, and I'm asking, he's like, you're lying. And they're just, no, I'm not. And this kid's smoking a joint and somebody else in there. And dude, we're going door to door in this place. We got no business going door to door with, because we're just trying to help this dude out and make sure he's okay. And, we're not, for nothing else. I'll never forget, we're like, this isn't working. Like, nobody cares about a couple grown men looking for another grown man. Like, nobody cares. Yeah. Do you remember what strategy we switched to?
Well, he got a baby.
You got a baby. So he's got a baby. He could have a baby. He doesn't know. He might have a baby with him. He might not. We got to find this guy. And dude, we're walking. No, first of all, we didn't care about much, right? No concern for what we had going on or us. We might have been armed. We might have had, I think somebody might have had one of them PR-24s. Those are great. I used to have at the police academy. Like, we're ready to go. But, and then, long story, dude, remember we walk outside, he texts us and says, I'm not here. And we're like, what are you talking about? And then he came walking out after that, and
I just remember it being the worst ending to a movie I've ever watched. Yeah. It's like all this buildup, right, to find him. Yeah. And then we're just hanging outside in the parking lot, and he just comes walking by.
Yes.
And gets it. I'm like, that's the ending? That's it?
That was the ending. That's a good way to put it. Worst ending there's a lot more to elaborate on, which is a story for a different day, I guess, if we should choose to. But point is, when you have a team and you are concerned for people, great teams, great businessmen and businesswomen, great leaders, they put other people's needs first when they know that they're in a position to help them. Meaning, if Mike's having a really hard time in his whatever it is, and I know that I'm not going through what Mike's going through, I put all my stuff aside to go be there for Mike. It might be uncomfortable, might be inconvenient, it might just suck, quite frankly, but I have to go to be there for Mike because Mike needs me. Because you've now been an entrepreneur for how many years?
On my own, independently in the solar industry, it's been 10 years now.
10 years.
Just over 10 years. Yeah.
Over 10
I've been
years.
in sale. I mean, my first big sale was my wife, Rachel.
Yeah, that's true. She's great, by the way.
That's when I was 18 years old. So I've been in sales for a long time. But the entrepreneur space, kind of building my own business, has been about 10 years now.
What are a couple things that you've learned about the entrepreneurial space that have, because Mike, the thing about the space is, and people like, dude, to be in it for 10 years is a big deal, let alone but honestly, like, most people don't. And it's not because we're in businesses that are replicatable, duplicatable. People need them. Like, we get it. Right. But what are a few things that you're like, man, if everybody on here is starting this journey or midway through this journey or think about quitting this journey, what are 2 or 3 things that have been success? We get the attitude and the activity stuff. You building your own business, what are a few things that you just hold on to that allowed you to succeed?
Um, for me, I couldn't have done it without, when I went through my really hardest times when we lost everything, right? Um, that's happened a few times in my life. But during the crash of 2008, for example. But when we lost everything, it really brought me closer to Christ, right? So that I couldn't have gotten through those tough times without God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be a big one there. That's it. And a lot of times when I was in sales and in running those leads and running those appointments I just got 5 no's in a row, right? Just, you drove 2 hours away, you got 5 no's. The day is not, you have barely, you things are not going well, right? You can't pay the bills. Like, you're just starting out in your entrepreneurship journey, your sales journey. Things are not good. The light bills need to be paid, and they're about to turn off the lights, literally, and you're desperate to make a sale so that you can feed your family, right? So on days like that, it's what are you going to do? Are you going to quit, or are you just going to keep going, right? So that perseverance has got to be, that grit. I think it comes down to grit. You gotta be willing to remember what you're fighting for, right? Because it's a battle and nobody's coming to save you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's coming to help you. Unless you have a team like you're on Sean's team or something, where he's, you call him up, he's not going to feel sorry for you and be like, hey, I've been through the same thing you're going through right now. But I think the big thing is grit, is having grit, and that desire to succeed at all costs. Obviously ethically and doing it the right way. But I think, even as we get bigger, things get better, more money is showing up in the account, right? You're paying more taxes, all this stuff. I think every successful entrepreneur I talk to, they would probably agree. You think about quitting every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know for me, it's like, there's days like things are just not going well, and we're on our journey, and there's one day you're on top of the mountain, the next day you get hit with bad news after bad news, bad news. You're like, what am I doing all this for, right? It's just not quitting, but it's having that grit, that determination to continue and move forward. But like, what else are we going to do? Are we really going to quit and go back to working like a 9 to 5 job, and having
Mm-hmm.
somebody else control your schedule, control your hours, and tell you when you can see your kids, and have to put your kids back into the school system, right? Like, I don't know. It's part of, I don't have all the answers. And I think that's, the older I get, the more I realize I don't know, right? I think in our 20s, we think we're 20s, we're unstoppable, nobody can touch us. We get to our 30s, we're starting to figure out, like, wow, there's a lot I don't know. And now I'm in my 40s, I'm like, my goodness, I still have a long way to go. But look where I came from, right? Like, yes, we made progress, but look where, look how much we've accomplished so far, but look how much more I still have to learn, right? So I think it's grit. It's a few different things, but it's having that desire to be successful and not quitting. Because I think most of us, I don't know if you would agree, Sean, would you agree? Like, there's weeks where you're like, you just want to burn everything down and start over, right? Or just quit, but you don't. You just get back up and you go at it again.
Well, it's funny you talk about '08, because that, we lived through '08. Some of you, weren't old enough to be making money and providing for yourself in '08. But I think when you say that, Mike, it reminds me of what it felt like, because I was in real estate. I mean, like, I
Right.
was doing what I was doing. And, somebody said, how bad was it? I said, the last project I worked on was an 11 lot subdivision in Windham, Connecticut. I bought it where the lots were for sale for 90 to 110,000 a piece. The home sites were for sale from 350 to 450. Capes, nothing big. The market crashes, and I sold the last 2 lots. Couldn't sell house package. I sold one for 25,000. the other one for 30. And I was happy to just be done. Like, I just want to be out of it. So to give you an idea how bad it was,
You're a relief.
I think for me, Mike, the answer is yes, I would agree with that. And I think that it's almost like for me, when I get frustrated, I knew that my job, I knew I wanted to be free. So like I never thought about going back to a job, but I thought, man, if I don't get my head right, like at this moment in time, it's going to be hard for me to recover. And the longer I let my head stay that way, the more apt I am to be unsuccessful. And sustained unsuccessful periods of time are what put people out of the business. It's not unsuccessful times. It's not pitfalls. It's not bad days, bad weeks. It's sustained where you don't hit your numbers, where you'll drive yourself out of business. So I think that when I met you and others that have been through it,
consistency, right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. But you motivated me. And I think, it's funny. I was sitting in church last week, and I don't preach to anybody. I'm working hard to go to heaven every day, and I'm a complete fucking train wreck, but I'm getting better every day. And pastor said there were 3 things that God was working through, gets the Israelites from Egypt, and they're going to go to the promised land, and what was supposed to be a 30-day journey took 40 years. And you're listening, and he says, there's 3 things that really bother them. Adultery, idolizing other gods and worshiping other gods. Adultery, which you're like, okay, like you're married, you should be with your wife or your husband. That I get it, and it's not good. I'm not judging anybody, but I get it. But the last one he said was actually the one that, because he's like, man, those 2, like, they shock you, right? Of course, those are a big deal. The last one was that they were too busy grumbling, which was complaining.
Right.
And that Lord actually sent snakes to deal with the complainers. I was like, whoa. And he started talking about today's world, we call it venting. And some people say to me, like, well, you don't want to let me vent. And I've become, and even better, I think I was pretty good about in 08. I'm even better now. I don't give a shit about anything you're going through unless you're trying to fix it. If you're trying to fix it, I'm in. But if you want to tell me how bad it is, just to tell me how bad it is, I couldn't fucking care less. And the reason is that when you start looking at perspective, and it's funny because when I was young, I don't know who told me this. I'm pretty sure I probably heard it from adults that were trying to raise me, and I was a really bad child. And I know that. It was, be careful what you complain about. And I wasn't afraid when my mom was like, I'll give you something to complain about. My mom's like 5'2". My mom could hit me whatever she wanted, dude. It was like, whatever. She'd smack me. I mean, she didn't match. She's tiny.
Right.
My father smacked me around, like, dude, whatever. Like, that was fine. What shook me was when people said, if you complain about stuff that isn't worthy of complaining about, God will give you something to complain about. I was like, oh shit, I don't want that. So for me,
you used to talk about perspective to us all the time.
All the time.
All the time. It's like, I remember calling you one time and be like, things weren't going well, right? And you said, there's people in your situation right now who would be grateful to be going through the financial problems that you're going through, because right now their kid's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And that changed everything for me, right? I think before I met you, Sean, I was one of those people. Like, I was guilty. I would complain about everything, right? Gas, the weather, or whatever, right? I was always that was my environment. That's all I knew, is to complain. And then we that's one thing you really instilled in our team, that you cut it out real quick in the beginning, is like, we don't complain here. What's the point? It's attitude and activity. We got to keep our attitudes right. And that's one thing I've definitely, you asked me earlier on, that's another thing I've taken, is that negativity. I'm absolutely, like, I'll run from it. Like, if I'm at an event and there's a couple of people that being super negative, like, I will literally go to the other side of the room, or I'll just leave. Like, I'm not going to be surrounded by negativity, because the world is so negative, right? Like, we have to fill ourselves with that positivity, with that positive mindset, whether it's doing a grateful exercise, just writing 10 things you're grateful for right now. Take 30 seconds, write down 10 things you're grateful for. That will change your perspective immediately, right? So, but yeah, but that what you said to me, like there's people right now, Buzz, that would kill to be in your financial situation, to have the financial problems that you're going through. And it changed everything for me.
Well, also, dude, none of us are that strong. Like, I think I'm pretty fucking strong minded, but I don't want, if I choose to listen to your negativity, and we've all complained, we've all been guilty of it, and I choose to go down that path with you, that's a path I might not recover from. And I think for me, like, and I'm pretty damn strong minded, and I see people that don't have that listening. I'm like, and then you realize that the people that are not having any success are dying for you to join them. And if you believe in good, then you got to believe in evil. It's like if you believe in evil, you got to believe in good. Like if you, like I told the guy the other day, you don't believe in shit, you believe in evil, then that has to be good. There's always, give me science, give me anything. You know, there's an alternative, like you know that. So at the end of the day, what's that?
There's night and there's day.
100%. So, but I think when you, and it can be a struggle, and it can be a grind. And all we're trying to do, I think too, my big deal was, let's provide for our kids what wasn't provided for us. Let's provide a better mindset. Because listen, where you get that from typically is mom and dad probably complaining when it was bad. It doesn't make mom and dad bad people. They just probably tend to do that. By the way, that's the motive. That's the motive. You understand? You and I were raised, you're younger than me. Dude, we were raised with Jerry Springer, Maury Povich. All we wanted to see, seriously, all we wanted is how fucked up are your lives? And then social media took that over and they do, but it's all we want to know. Like, let's complain about everything. People watch the news to what? Because so we can complain. We don't want to debate. We want to complain. And then when you have an alternate opinion than I do, like I go, hey, Mike, it's not that bad. Then you're like, I'm somehow not, you're not going to talk to me. It's like, why? Because I don't agree with your bullshit and I'm just not going to. So I think that, you know, you make a lot of great points and you already had those skill sets too. Like you were successful athletically. You had humility. You found the Lord, which is a big deal, or got closer when you went through that. Because Mike, you went through some hard times and I know that, you know, what was, as far as like, have you ever been in a place in your entrepreneurial career where you're like, dude, I can't get out of bed. I can't make any phone calls. I don't want to mess with nobody. Have you ever been there?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
How'd you get yourself out of that? Like, what did you specifically do? Was somebody else helping? Did somebody say something? Did you just, how'd you get yourself out of it?
How did I get myself out of it? If I look back on it, I stepped on, so during that time, we kind of had lost everything, right? And where I was starting over in California. And I was definitely depressed, definitely anxiety. And looking back on it, I had made some changes to my diet that certainly did not help. I had gone 100% like vegetarian. I was eating a lot of processed foods. Like, so knowing what I know now, what I know today,
you stopped eating meat?
Yeah.
Are you eating meat now?
Oh, I eat meat. I eat steak pretty much every day.
I could have told you that was a bad idea. Go ahead.
That was a horrible idea, right? So I had the worst anxiety, worst depression. I wasn't somebody who was depressed, right? And that's what I went through, right, during that time. What changed for me was hitting, like with you, Sean, at some point in your journey when you were younger, you hit rock bottom, right, with the drinking thing.
100%.
And for me, I hit rock bottom when we came home from it, even to this day, it's hard to talk about. But like we came home from the beach, from a California beach, and they had turned off the water because we didn't pay the bill. And the crazy thing is, I was in a hurry to get back home, and for whatever reason, and instead of showering the kids at the beach with all the sand, and you know, kids at the beach at that age, 4 or 5, 6 years old, they got sand everywhere, right? You got sand in places. You're like, how in the world did this much sand get in your butt crack, right? But yeah, so we're like, we're only like 20, 30 minutes from home. We'll just shower them at home. We get home and there's no water. They literally had put a lock on the meter. I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I think part of that was hitting rock bottom. And then once you hit rock bottom, it was starting to work out, right? At one point there in right around 2015, 2014, I was almost 300 pounds
You're
because of that
300
depression.
pounds?
Yeah, I stepped on the
Shit.
scale. I was about 283 pounds,
It's a
and I
big
had
boy.
and that's when I lost weight, right? Because when you're like right now, I'm a little bit heavier. You're kind of afraid to step on the scale, and so I went on a diet for a few weeks, and I lost. You could tell, man, my pants are starting to feel different. I lost some weight, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling good now. Let me go step on the scale. Now that I lost some weight, go see where we're at. Must be in the 240s. It was over 280 pounds.
Wow.
So I know I was pushing 300 for sure. But I would see that scale and just walk around it and just like, I ain't going near you. Um, but during that depression, that anxiety, when you're eating 3 ice cream sundaes every night and drinking Samuel Adams beer to wash it down, I mean, you're going to put on weight pretty quick. That didn't take long, but getting into the door-to-door sales solar industry was a big change for me, where I was walking around every day, and then I started exercising. So that's how I kind of got myself out of it. One was I couldn't have done it without God, without faith. That would have been impossible. And then two was exercising. And one thing I've learned over the years is that, especially as us guys, if we don't work out, that anxiety builds up, right? And if you allow that anxiety build up, you're going to start fighting people like in your life in different places, whether it's your kids, whether it's your wife, and that anxiety will show up, whether it's at work. And so you have to work out that anxiety. Whether that's going for a run. I prefer to lift weights and do some sprints or something. But that was really the catalyst for me. And when I hit rock bottom, something's got to change. I can't go into a size 40 pants. Size 40, Sean. I was already,
Right.
I'm sorry. I already had size 40 shorts. I was going to go up again. And I'm like, I ain't going up from here. This stops now. And that's when started working out and starting to eat right, and adding meat and protein and learning again how important protein is and how all that vegetarian, vegan stuff was complete nonsense. But yeah, that's how it started for me, and that's how I kind of got myself back is working out, getting my mind right, and remembering what it's all about, and reading the Word every day, getting into the Word, and thank God, because I was in a dark place.
And, you know what's amazing? I meet a lot of very successful people, which is great. I get to travel all over the country, which is great. And there's a few things that are always brought up. Just so you know, like I can take the 100 most successful people I have that I know, that some are billionaires legitimately, hundreds of millions of dollars, but whatever they've done athletically, financially. And I've not had one tell me that they don't work out. Not one. Not
Mm-hmm.
one goes, I just don't want to work out. Like, I just have no desire to work out at all. There's not one that said that. There's not one that hasn't talked about diet in some capacity. There's not one that hasn't said, I might still drink, I might not, but I tend to just like, I don't want anything to control me. They talk about their attitude. The ones I know do talk about the Lord. I'm not preaching to anybody, whatever you believe in, but they do. And the reality is you find these things that, and to your point, like I work out 7 days a week. My buddy Andrew, he handles everything. And he was trying to show me an article on Mark Wahlberg that said, at this point in time, when you get to be a certain age, rest and recovery is more important than working out. Yeah, not for my mindset, Mark. I'm gonna fucking work out 7 days a week, rip fucking somebody's head off. You are right. My legs are probably sore, my back's probably fucked up, but I'm doing this to look. Yes, I want to look decent, but I'm doing this for here first.
Oh, it's huge.
It's here first.
The days you don't go to the gym.
No.
You don't be around me, man, because I'm miserable. Like,
Yep.
I'm not a happy person.
Yep. And again, there's a lot of science behind it. You can research it, but I'm gonna tell you what, this journey is real. And in today's world where it's tough, I mean, the economy's tough. The good news is the economy will rebound. There's an election coming. It's the way they work. It is very manipulatable, so they will do that. It's all good. Interest rates will get cut, like it's going to happen, dude. It's what happens. But but at the end of the day, it's hard, really hard right now, and it's going to be hard for a period of time, and it's been hard for years now. So there's more people never looking for something, looking to go do something. Mike, you're when I got in the sales industry, because I was real estate, flipping houses, job. It wasn't really full-time sales. I'd done some sales. Like you had like sales careers you showed up to, but guys I met like you reinvigorated me and validated to me, because I'm like, I only want to get in this if I can be true to who I am, work hard, be hardcore, be upfront with people. They can be upfront with me. I'm totally fine with that, but we're going to be accountable. We're going to work our asses off together. And you helped bring that out in me with a few of us. As a matter of fact, it's funny. I was talking to Dominique. I said, I'm getting buzzed on. He said, let me tell you something, bro. If he decides to get back in life insurance business, he's on my team. And I was laughing. I was like, oh, no doubt about it, dude. I said, he's doing his thing solo. We'd love to have him back one day and keep doing what he's doing and work some stuff out. But I'm telling you guys, if you're at and how do they get a hold of you, Mike? If they want to reach out to you, if they're in the solar industry, if they just want to talk to you about not being a vegetarian, how do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Solar Buzz. It's The Solar Buzz. Facebook, same thing. Yeah.
Great name. The Solar Buzz. Mike Bettencourt is an OG. He's a legend. There's other stories we definitely can't share with you. Those are a couple we could. But hey, I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you. When I'm up your way, I will come by. If you come to Florida at any point in time, your whole family's welcome. Bring them all down. Love to see everybody, buddy. But I really
we got to make that happen. I love you. Love you too, Sean. Thank you.
Done too, man. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Hey guys, thanks for being on. I appreciate you more than you know. Always appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share, reach out to Mike. You're in the solar business. You're in any business at all. You're entrepreneurial. You're trying to find some people. And thanks for tuning into a show that will not bullshit you, that will give you real life information to help you get better. Doesn't pretend to be perfect. It's not a fairy tale, man. It's a grind, but it can be very, very, very freaking rewarding. So appreciate y'all. Thanks.